Jessica Rich with Leaving a Rich Legacy, and I am here with my girls. This is my childhood best friend, Nadia, and this is my college roommate turned best friend, Jamaica. And we are in Atlanta visiting Jamaica for a 90s R&B concert. Yes. We have been having an amazing weekend, but we want to take time to just like kind of talk about some things that is important in our community or things that we don't talk about. We actually don't have any topics set. So I'm going to leave it up to the ladies to kind of throw something out that they want to talk about today, and we'll just kind of go from there. So y'all have watched the podcast. Y'all have been a part of Women's Improvement Call. Y'all know me and my journey. Like, is there anything that y'all think is important for us to talk about, or anything like that resonated with you from this weekend?
So honestly, I love our conversation that's centered around femininity. So I think that should be a topic today, because I am an individual that probably does not have as much femininity as they should. Okay. And I am working on gaining that portion of myself, because I feel it's important, as well as it's important to my partner. So I want to be able to tap into that side of me, myself.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with you because that was the topic we had at lunch. We actually just came back from lunch, so that was the topic of discussion at lunch. And I think the thing is that there's a lot that comes with that word femininity, mm-hmm. and sometimes there's cause and effect with femininity. You get what I'm saying? So if you are in a place where your surroundings allow you to be feminine, then your feminine energy is going to come out. And then you have the latter part. If you are in an environment that there's no way that you can display your feminine energy, you have to be masculine, because guess what? That's like that survival technique, survival mode. That's what's going to be displayed. But I definitely think maybe femininity should be the topic of discussion today.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit, guys. Okay, so listen. I do believe that femininity is super important. But why should I be punished for being myself?
Okay. Can I answer?
Go ahead.
So I would say this, and we kind of talked about this. Growing up, I felt like I was really, really tough. And I think when you met me, I don't know if you realized it, but like Nadia kind of made a comment about something we were talking about, and like I would pop off. Like I would pop off based on some of the anger and resentment that I grew up with, that just kind of festered into my young adulthood, that festered into relationships, and maybe probably the workplace too. But like over the last couple of years, like really understanding that yes, I am who I am. I'm a no-nonsense person. I like to stay to myself. I'm an introvert. I'm still loving and kind, but all of those things that was associated with the masculine energy made me so hard, tough. And I wouldn't say, I don't think I was a mean person, but I felt like the energy that I had took me from a place that did not allow me to experience the peace that I have now. Mm-hmm. So when you think about feminine energy, it's not even about your partner, it's about yourself and tapping into your softer side. So like, it's something as simple as, like I had the jumpsuit on yesterday. I have a lot of jumpsuits that I wear for loungewear around the house. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of things that I have around the house that naturally makes me feel soft. Candles, some of my coffee mugs, some of the things that I watch, the music I listen to. So here I am, tough, exterior, come from South Florida, 954 Broward County.
Hello.
I'm
too far.
People say they can tell I'm from Broward County or South Florida. I'm still from 954, right? And, you know, there was a point in my life where I felt like I would say to people, like, don't make me act like my area code.
Hello.
Like, I would tell people that.
I feel that.
But when you get to a more feminine side, like, there's a piece about you that you can still remain yourself, but you don't have to be strong. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to snap back. Like, I've gotten to a point in life where everything doesn't require a response. Mm-hmm. I do not. So me and my therapist talked about this, and she didn't understand that when I was dating somebody. She was like, everybody argues. I was like, I really don't argue with people. Maybe because I am so firm and is a no nonsense person, but I don't argue in my life. I don't really like, me and Nadia have never fallen out. I don't think me and you have ever fallen out.
No, you did not talk to me for a little bit.
You lying.
It was really quick. It was like a week, but you was like, I had to get my thoughts together. But you came to me and we talked.
So
we had a great conversation.
But you see that? Like, I don't argue with people.
No, you do not.
At one point in my life, I was very aggressive and resented, and I was dating somebody too. In college, I think about how angry I was when I dated him, or even my last relationship. Like, he would bring a side of me out that I'm like, but I don't argue with people on like, this is not me. So when you think about feminine energy, it is not even about the person you date. It's about who you are in the space that you create for yourself. That's what you gotta look at. You don't have to change who you are, but you do look at, why am I, not to say you, why am I angry? Why am I always arguing? Why am I always snapping back? Why I always feel like I gotta have an attitude? And being feminine allows you to erase some of those things because you're like, that's not the space that I want to be in. I want to just live a nice, soft life. And me being from a single parent household or raised in a house with women, not to say that's what they instilled in me, but some of those things naturally came from that household.
Now, I want to piggyback off of something you said, and it is all part of the femininity journey because you mentioned peace. And because that's what my therapist and I, we worked on that piece, right? So when I came to a place where I was at peace, she said, oh, now you're at peace, now the journey begins, because it's really work to maintain the peace, but that's still part of your femininity journey. When you are in your feminine space, one of the things you are going to try to achieve is that peace. Because when you're at peace, it allows you to be feminine. And she was talking about certain, like, you know, you said jumpsuits, candles. I know you noticed my furry slippers, my home. I like those. That's something that I like.
Beautiful.
That's something I like. It makes me feel soft. I don't know how many pairs I have. That's something that they already know. My husband and my son, they know that they will give me those for Christmas because I like that. It makes me feel soft. So that piece, part of that piece is knowing who you are.
Right.
You're in a space where you're trying to recognize who you are. Who am I? Who I want to be, and am I comfortable with certain things in my life? And if I'm not comfortable, okay, now it's time to do the work. The femininity journey and movement is not all about, let's just say materials. It's not about materials. It's not about going out and spending money on yourself and, you know, adding to this whole consumerism. It's not about that. It's really you finding out who you are, you being comfortable with you, and then you working on you. Because once you recognize who you are, that's when it's going to flow naturally, you know? So, now granted, same background where my mom was very aggressive. My mom was masculine, but now that I'm older and I have done the work, I know why she was masculine now. It's because she had to be masculine.
I like how you said that you've done the work. So can you give us a little bit about what was the work?
It was therapy.
Okay, that's big.
The turning point was I have a good girlfriend of mine. Her son got shot and killed. He was 8 years old at the time frame of his death. And I was good. Everything was all good. I'm someone, I don't cry much. That's just my personality. I really don't cry. So I was really good. I'm helping out with everything. I'm keeping busy. I'm good. And it was not an open casket, nothing like that. So, but towards the end, it was probably like 10 or 15 of us who are very close to her. She said, I want you guys to walk in there and I want to view him. And when we walk in and view him, everything just fell apart for me. And I remember I didn't say in that moment, I walked out because I became angry. And then I had to recognize that I was angry at my friend who just lost her child. I was pissed off at her that he passed away. So that was not healthy, and I had to reach out. And then so even at that time frame, this is when the pandemic is coming around too.
Right.
So it forces me to really tap into my mental health, to really figure out some things. So it was because of his death, that moment, I realized that was not healthy. I need to do something different. And when I tapped into that, when my therapist used to get me together, she would, because I would be talking to her about, and I found myself placing blame on people. And then she made me take accountability for certain things. And then once I started doing that with her, I got to a place where I was just like at peace. I couldn't describe it, but it was just something that, like we were saying, didn't pop off. Right. I was not snapping. I was not giving people the typical reaction that they would thought that they would get from Nadia. Right. It was just no. And then when you get to that place, after you work so hard to get to that place, that's where the real work begins, is to maintain it.
Right.
And then the boundaries, your women empowerment calls, we've talked about boundaries before.
Yeah.
So your boundaries come into play. And the hardest thing was me setting boundaries with my mom. Doesn't mean I don't love her. I come from
because that mama is big, right?
Caribbean background. My mom Haitian. I'm Haitian American. My mom comes from Haiti, and my mom used to do this thing to me every morning. She would call me to complain about my siblings, and I didn't realize that used to upset me. So that kind of had an effect on how I would go about my days. And so I had to learn to say, no, Mom, you can't do this. No. And it took literally a full year, because my therapist also told me that cutting off people, when you just cut off people, she said that's not healthy too, because now you have to work on, why are you cutting this person off? Did you do the work to tell them, hey, this is not, and a lot of time I was not telling people this is not what I'm going to tolerate. I would just cut them off.
Just cut them off.
That's not
You're
healthy
not
either.
communicating, right?
So full year boundary in place, but it's like once you're on that femininity journey, you're going to find your peace, your balance, and it's listen, it's undescribable. And I gotta mention God. You still have to have that relationship with God, because it is biblical. Women, we are meant to be feminine. Though it says helpmate, but it didn't say worker. As far as we're not supposed to be. If we're gonna go biblical, we're not supposed to be the provider. We weren't made to be head of household, but we were there. We were created to help the head of household. And it doesn't mean that you're, I hate the word submissive because people throw it around too loosely.
They do.
It does not mean that you're there to bow down to your spouse, but however, you're there to balance them out.
Exactly.
When they're weak, you have to be the strong one. And sometimes when they get to that point where they have to, because men do have to be aggressive. I hate when people like, oh, no. That's part of a man's nature. Sometimes they do have to be aggressive for certain situations. I'm not saying for him to be aggressive with you.
Exactly.
Right? So that's when you get into that feminine journey, it's like a whole, it's not just the one journey. Everything interpools with each other. Okay, let me be quiet. So
listen, Nadia, girl, you just like a novel.
Let me stop.
I would say, so just for clarity, so Nadia is married with two boys. Okay. And Jamaica is in a relationship with a daughter.
Yes, we
Just
are.
so the dynamics of talking about femininity, relationships, like we all women speak differently, but then also so someone can relate to your experiences based on
True.
where you are. So that's I want to make sure I want to clarify that. So just
That's true.
so okay, listening to that in the work in femininity, like what's your response to that?
So truthfully, I'm ready for this journey. I'm excited about it. I'm gearing up for it, because it's going to reveal a lot of truths about myself. And that's what you really have to be ready for. What you thought you knew about yourself, it's going to change. And that's what I'm really ready for. So I'm totally on board with this journey. And I appreciate my friends, because in having this conversation, and I know you said not for your significant other, but it brought up because I was told I need to be more feminine. And as a female, I'm like, how as a male can you tell me to be more feminine, right? But it meant something because it came out of his mouth. So it meant a lot to me. And I started to think on it, and I started to realize that I do snap when I really don't want to. But it's just in me. And I have to figure out what that is. And so now I'm ready for this journey, because I know along this journey, I'm going to find out why I'm snapping. What's the problem? And that's going to make me reveal some things, but it's going to get rid of that anger. It's going to get rid of that anger, and it's going to make me softer. Right? And that's going to give me my feminine energy, so that I can be able to accept when he does need to be aggressive, but in the aspect of where he needs to be. Not necessarily towards me, but just him himself and being himself. So I'm ready for it. And honestly, it's a journey I need to take right now in my life. Totally the journey I need to be on. So I'm so grateful for my friends, you two, who have helped me to see that. Because honestly, sometimes we don't know how to communicate. You know what I mean? And I've had this conversation, and when someone speaks on, okay, you need to be more feminine, and you ask for more clarity, and they really can't give it, right? They just say, I want more femininity. They really just want you to stop snapping at them. You know what I mean? Like, They really just want you to stop snapping at them. So, okay, so this is where I need to be at. So I appreciate you guys, both of you, for letting me see that. Because in my head, I was thinking I just need to go get my hair done more. I need to go get my nails done more. And go get a pedicure more often.
That's let's be honest now. Let's be honest now. When we look pretty, we feel pretty.
Exactly.
And then what you feel deep down inside, it comes out on the outside. But I really think that whole journey is about self-awareness. So you are going to be aware of what is triggering certain responses, right? So when you are aware of your triggers, you are going to put strategies in place like, okay, are you going to allow that to affect your behavior or not? You know, so it doesn't happen overnight. There's one of the YouTubers that I love watching, and I think we had a discussion. Her journey was probably less than 3 months. And now fast forward now that she's actually with someone now, she's engaged, and a lot of other issues are coming out on the back end. And the only thing I kept thinking to myself is like, Jessica and I, we had this discussion. That was just, it's not something that happens overnight. You have to continuously work on it. You have to, you recognizing, you being in your feminine journey, in your feminine space, resting in your feminine energy. I can walk into a room and I can tell if I'm meant to be in that room or if I'm not supposed to be in that room. And there was this lady's name, it was Dr. I forgot her name. She said when you are on your feminine journey, feminine energy, you will walk in a room and you will know if you're wanted in that room or if you're not. And you have to know when to get up and exit a room, and you have to know when that room is for you. And there's nothing wrong with if you have to exit that room.
Exactly.
You know, so that's part of it. It's self-awareness. Self-awareness is part of your feminine journey as well too. But I'm excited for you. I am
too. Especially after spending the weekend with you guys. I'm super excited because I can see y'all feminine energy just shining through. So I'm super excited about mine. And even with the songs that we be playing, like I'm like, give me my trick daddy, give me my give me my drop groove.
Now we can listen to
that. Y'all like, no, I want shy. I want a little Gerald Levert,
voice to me. Just a little.
But I think something that was said, like, so I definitely don't think that the journey should be for your partner, it should be for you.
Exactly.
But one thing you can think about too is, and I know recently Scrappy went viral about a video he did with Mama
Very
D.
much.
And one thing he said is, and I don't watch Love and Hip Hop just in general right now, so I'm just going based on clips. But a part I can recap, and I may be not saying it exactly, is he said, you know, he experienced with his mom, and she's hard, and his wife is hard too.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of men, black men, because I'm gonna speak to our community, you know, and we experienced it as girls, so men experienced it too. Our parents may have been hard, or they may have been loving, whatever it is, but some experienced very hard mothers because they had to do certain things. They had to be the mom and the dad, and therefore they could not show those emotions. So men are looking for that from their partners, but the partner only knows what the mama gave.
Exactly.
So when your partner says that, don't look at it as so much as like you gotta get your nails done, your toes done. You should do those things. I'm telling you, because it makes you feel a certain way. But also they're looking for a soft space that they've never been able to rest in, and that is a part of our trauma. So Nadia's talking about therapy. I'm a huge therapy advocate, and I just think that we think that therapists in the black community is not good for us. But like, there's so many black therapists that can relate to you. So when you get with them, they can help you through some of those things, because our parents were taught to be hard, and some of them now are at 60 and 70 and learning to be loving and say I love you more often, right? Like I talked about, I can't, as a kid, I cannot remember my dad saying I love you.
True.
But every time I talk to him, I'm like, I love you. And he gonna say, I love you, babe. How do you live? Right? Like that's, but growing up, I'm like, I don't really remember that. But so I just think when you think about him, your partner too, either it's a male or a female, you gotta remember wherever they grew up in, they may have grown up in a very masculine environment where their mom did not have a choice based on their capacity, but they're trying to find that space where they can just rest and be soft and be emotional and vulnerable. And as women, sometimes we do not create that space because we so quick to throw back whatever they're vulnerable about, we throw it back at them. and we cannot do that.
I'm glad you said that.
I am not to cut you off, Nadia.
Yeah.
I want you to get your thought out. That is one thing I'm very, very knowledgeable of. If you tell me something, I'm taking it in. I'm evaluating it. It's never getting thrown back up in your face. Because that's a real problem we have, I think, in our community, seriously. Right. Where we want to say we're joking, or maybe we're having a ranking session, and you just want to throw it back. Like, no, that's not
We've all been guilty of that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't like to do that. Like, if I'm gonna rank, it's gonna be about what you got on right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, gonna be about what you told me and your mom experience back in the day.
Here's my thing: when you know better, the saying, "When you know better, you do better."
Exactly.
But what I was going to bring up was a situation, a scenario with my husband. Something was going on in his business, and something happened. And when he called me to explain to me, I kind of got quiet at first, and I was like, okay, because I had to let him just feel a little comfortable. And I was like, all right. I said, do you want me to tell you the piece about how I feel you should run your business yet or not? And he was like, but when he started the conversation, the first thing he said is that I didn't really want to tell you this because I know you're going to say this. And after he said that, I had to say, well, no, I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to feel like you can come to me for, if you have something on your mind, you need to be able to be comfortable to come to me. Mm-hmm. But after he said what he said, I let him vent. I had to say, okay, now do you want me to tell you? And here's the thing. If he would have said no in that moment, to be honest, I would have been okay with not telling him because I would have to respect that boundary.
Right.
But when he was like, babe, truthfully, that is why I really called you because I know. So I had to tell him X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the conversation, I had to say, I want you to feel comfortable to come to me.
Right. With
any issue. I said, it's all right. I said, we can have these discussions. I said, I don't want you to feel like you're afraid to come to me to talk to me about certain things, So, but I get what you're saying about the throwing back certain things because when you know better, you do better. I've been guilty of doing that in my past relationships because I will that's why you.
We good at that,
but when we do that, and I don't want to just say black men in general. When you do that to men in general, it makes them shut down. And that's not from me coming from a woman bringing it up. It's actually from one of my male friends telling me this out of his mouth from what he was going through in a relationship. So when you know better, you do better. Yeah.
I believe that 100%. Yeah, for sure.
You said the what?
Yeah.
Feminine energy, I'm super excited for you. It's a journey that's going to really teach you about yourself. Because I no longer describe y'all as strong women. At this point, I'm at a place where I don't even like saying resilient because I think now we've used that as a placeholder for it. I don't want to describe y'all as strong and being able to struggle and handle everything because some things we shouldn't be going through and handling, but because we have labeled ourselves as strong, it's supposed to. Oh no, she's strong. She can go through that struggle and pain and cry and hurt. I don't want to do that.
Can I say something? That even went into the workplace.
It does.
I remember working on the floor as a nurse. And I remember my charge nurse, they used to give me the most difficult cases, difficult families, difficult patients. Oh, she can handle that. To me, that was not a badge of honor.
It wasn't.
So that actually goes on into your professional life as well, too.
It does.
Miss me with that whole strong woman stuff. No, I'm not strong. Please. Yeah.
I don't want to be strong today.
Yes, please. No.
That's me.
So it does go on into other aspects and parts of our lives. That whole strong woman and coming. Well, my mama. Well, that's why your mama died early of a heart attack, a stroke, and everything because she was stressed.
What like the recent meme Jessica said when somebody said, "I'm calling Jesus to tell him I don't want to be strong in 2023." No, he put me on the list.
2023. Lord, don't assign me to go through all the struggles. Whatever you have, the blessings, abundance, I take it. But on a serious note, there is some things that we get labeled that we're supposed to handle and take because we're strong. We've shown in the past that we're strong, but as you go through the journey, you learn that I don't want to be that. That ain't the label I want. Don't rely on me for that. Don't treat me that way. Sometimes that comes with your partners because partners may treat you a certain way because they think you're strong, you can handle struggle, cheating or whatever it is, disrespecting you. She'll deal with it because she's strong. I don't
I'm
want
not
to
your
be that.
punching bag.
I'm not your punching
I'm not your
bag.
scapegoat.
What your
No.
mama dealt with, she
Nope.
didn't want to, so don't think I got to deal with the same thing.
And
you're not gonna give me the bare minimum because your mama accepted the bare minimum. Because
And
some of our moms,
That's why his mama was stressed, had high blood pressure, was dying early, and that's why she used to like want them out of the house early because she was stressed. I'm not your mama. I'm not.
not your mama.
No, we're not.
And have a conversation with your mama because your mama didn't want to do what she had to do either. She did because she had to.
You heard me? And that's what I think that's a big part right there. Moms are still showing they're so strong. They're yet to be vulnerable in front of their children. And I think that's a part about it. I know guys, you don't want to cry in front of your kids. You don't want to do this in front of your kids. You're worried about your kids. But your kids need to see the real.
Yeah.
They need to see the real. Because all you're doing is putting on a facade. And at the end of the day, they think that's how it goes.
And then when you do that facade, you set them up for failure. Because now in their mind, it's an expectation. So I never seen my mom cry. And I say this, it's funny because my son says that he's never seen me cry. But like there's certain, he'll tell you he's never seen me cry. And that's just something that I had to explain to him as far as how I grew up, how crying was seen as a weakness from the household I was raised in. But when you have a child and you're telling that child that, no, this is how it's supposed to be. Like boys aren't supposed to cry. No, boys are supposed to be able to be emotional, tell you how they feel.
Exactly.
Because it's funny how they're not supposed to cry as boys, but when they become men, you're trying to figure out, well, why can't he communicate? Why can't you tell me how you feel? Meanwhile, when he was a child, society told him you're not allowed to say how you feel. Toughen up, so.
Shake it off.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
No.
Don't cry.
No, it's okay.
You stronger than that. You bigger than that.
No.
Yep. So
All of the above.
No, it's okay to cry. Tell me what's going on. How did this make you feel? And after it happened, what did you do to feel better about it? No. It's a new generation. We're the new school. Yeah.
We are the new school. And are you all getting the blowback from your parents with being in the new school? Are y'all hearing what they're saying? I'm being told I need to get a handle on my child.
You know what? My mom actually is a little different. We talked about the love comment. I can't recall how many times my mom told me that she loved me as a child. I can't recall. But the grandkids, I love you. And when we're actually trying to discipline them, and I'm not talking about even like physically hitting them. That's just my personal preference. I don't believe in hitting kids. I'm over that. My mom gets upset like, you put him where? Why is he in the corner? Why can't he do this? Like, so it's grandkids. That's my mom.
Different.
My mom is very different. She's
That's
like,
a whole other subject. Grandkids have a totally different set of rules than children, okay? Your children could not get away with just going into the refrigerator and getting the ice pop.
Yeah.
That was a problem. You ain't asking me to go in my refrigerator.
Now,
not me personally.
Let me ask you
this.
this though: is your mom? Do you see where your mom's telling the grandkids, "I love you" and all of that?
All day.
Okay, yeah, my mom, she tells them from 3 years old on the way up. I think we have the oldest one is 21. They get the "I love you."
They get the "I love you." They get the hugs.
And that's their norm. And is it okay if we can? Oh, this is a whole different topic. It's okay to be jealous in a good way because I tell my son that I'm jealous of him.
Oh, that's what you want?
I'm jealous of him as far as the way he's growing up, but in a good way. I'm like, Nikki, I would never be able to get to do this. And I'm like, yeah, the way that he's being raised by us in the household, I was saying like, dang, like his dad has said that too. Frances told him like, yo, like you have the option to do X, Y, Z. He's like, I never had that option. He's like, for the simple fact that you can tell us how you feel, if something's bothering him, open door policy, come tell us how. We weren't raised like that. You shut up.
You see how I set up when you said
So
that?
that's normal.
Before I left the house, what was said to y'all? I'm jealous of my nephew, right? Because my nephew grew up more as my mom's child, right? So with that being said, she thinks I'm jealous. It's not a jealousy, ma'am. There was a different line. Like, I was your child, so I had a totally different set of rules. He was your grandchild, so he got away with murder at the end of the day, right? And then on top of that, one thing these parents won't admit, they treat them differently from male to female.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a female, so you had wraps on me. I couldn't go here, I couldn't go there. Couldn't go spend the night here, couldn't go spend the night there. If I was going out, I didn't be home by this time. But the boys, the males, okay.
Listen, that's a whole.
See you when you get back.
Topic.
What do you mean? See you when you get back. Who is he going out with? What is their mother's name? What is their father's name? Who lives in the house? Because that's what I was asked. How was he not asked the same thing?
Man, that's a whole nother.
I don't
That's
wanna
a
get
whole
into it,
nother
but yeah,
topic.
that is. That's all part of it, right?
Yeah, it
It's
is.
all part of it. But yeah, I just had to play that because y'all were just told I was jealous. I don't try to be jealous of anyone. But there's definitely a different set of rules.
Yeah.
There's definitely a different set of rules.
But they learn, right? They now have learned from their
Yes.
mistakes with
Yes.
us.
Yes.
True.
And now they see the grandkids and they're like, okay, I can do things differently.
That's
and
so
they're doing
true.
it. And then some of it's like, now wait a minute.
Give it
Yeah.
with a jar.
What's up? What's up?
Remember, they never had McDonald's money for us. They never had McDonald's
Never
money
had
for
McDonald's
us.
money.
Now they got Chick-fil-A money for the grandkids.
They
Call
got
them call them. What did he eat at Chick-fil-A again?
Buffet. They do it all for the baby. Make their own personal dish. Oh, he don't want that. So he not eating right. Because I was told if you hungry, you don't eat what's in there.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're not hungry.
Yes.
Oh, you get a whole special meal.
No,
made.
my mom literally would make a whole separate meal for the twins because the twins were very picky eaters. So she would cook whatever she's cooking and then she would make a separate meal just for them.
Are the twins your siblings?
They're my nephews and I
See
couldn't
what I'm
understand.
saying?
I didn't really
See what I'm
comprehend like,
saying?
wait, why are you
grandkids? They get that privilege that we just didn't get.
Look, girl, we are opening a whole Pandora's
like
box.
Pandora's box.
Now you know with your grandkids and your grandkids, you raise your kids a certain way, and then you don't have to change it drastically because you learn it from your parents too.
That's true. That's so true.
You learn it from them. They learn later. You know, we wanted it sooner, but they learn later. And now you get opportunity to learn and change things with your kids.
Naughty is really eyeing this bar. Like,
No, because I see the bartender over there like in a cowboy
So we
hat.
at a hotel.
Got a cowboy hat and a hoodie on. I'm trying to figure out what is going on over
We're in
there.
Atlanta at I think it's a
90s,
the 90s.
A 90s R&B holiday edition.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I love 90s R&B. I don't even know
Yes.
what's going on.
She
on the
really
radio.
does,
I'm
okay?
so stuck in the 90s. I'm so stuck in the 90s. But we're gonna go get us a cocktail before we head up to our hotel room, and I want to get some time with the girls. Just to talk about some things that I think is important in our community, femininity, and just listening to different levels of where we are. And I did start therapy long before I did, so we're all on different journeys. Camera that, but what I was saying is we're all on different journeys when it comes to healing, feminine energy, and like really understanding ourselves because it looked different for all of us. All three of us grew up in a single parent household with our mothers, and we all are successful. They have children, and we all have realized like it's important to we think about legacy. Legacy looks different for everybody, but the goal is to change what we experienced because our parents only did what they could do based on their capacity. And now that we have the awareness, we have an opportunity to change it. So I'm so happy they was able to sit here with me today to talk about some things. It's gonna be more conversations to come in, so expect them. But thank you, Nadia and Jamaica, for joining me for this conversation on Leaving a Rich Legacy. And we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.